Let's go from making the playoffs to not even getting close, actually. And
They're executing the plays, and they are doing what's needed and necessary to win football games.
They just didn't show up again. Another team showed up to play with a game plan, executed the game plan, and then the Bills did not.
Just a couple of guys, a couple of microphones, and a heck of a lot of no. It's Football on the No with Jim and Joe.
what is your guys' opinion on the catch?
No, I know
it was a complete catch.
I don't think so.
Absolutely.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the No. I am Jim McPhee. We've got Cody over there in the corner, and of course, alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Odos? Welcome back for another edition. And yeah, you guessed it. You can see the title above. It's the 2023 NFL Mock Draft. The know-it-all draft, if you will.
The long-awaited.
Welcome
We've
aboard.
been teasing this the whole time.
Yes, it's been a while, and we got to this point, and guess what's tomorrow night? That's right. The actual draft is happening. 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow Eastern. It's going to be exciting, and prepare for surprises because that's what's in store for you.
Yeah, just when you think you know what's going to happen, something else happens. And at least, the Aaron Rodgers trade went down, and so we knew what was going to happen where those picks now end up getting swapped the
first rounder,
year.
yep.
So,
13 and 15.
So now we know that. That was good that you guys, were able to do the draft last night after that had happened, you know what I mean? Because that could mess up your whole where you're thinking people are going to go, you know what I mean? Somebody grabs somebody at this point, and then all of a sudden, boom, it gets swapped to another one. But trades. That's what everybody talks about, and that's what surprises you within that night. So we're all going to get messed up, like you said, anyways, tomorrow night.
And just so everybody knows out there, this is a mock draft with no trades. We know trades are going to happen, but it's like damn near impossible to predict.
Guess. Yeah.
Yeah, be real on your game.
All right, so let's get rocking and rolling into this one. Joe, all right, so you and Cody got together last night and did this whole thing. I was under the weather. I wasn't feeling very good. So you guys ended up doing it together. What you guys did was you went and you modified, and you guys went alternating, picks, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So one picked one and one picked the other. Cody, you had odds, and Joe, you had evens, right?
Yes.
All right, here we go. So the NFL draft has started here, and we've got the Carolina Panthers we're on the clock. So, Cody, who did you end up picking here for pick number 1 for the Carolina Panthers?
Frank Reich.
At
Frank
pick
Reich.
1, we had Mr. Bryce Young. No real shockers coming off here. All the rumors are pointing to Bryce Young right now. He's arguably the most ready quarterback to come in immediately. It's not the guy I would really pick. I'm more of a Stroud fan, but we're trying to be a little accurate, From pick 1, it's probably the only pick we're gonna have right. But
yeah, I know, right?
Sit
Usually
back and
everybody's doing
enjoy
number 1.
are probably messed up by pick 2 mock draft.
We we have to put our GM caps on and try to be in tune with like our war room with whatever team we were given. So Cody goes off with Bryce Young, and honestly, I'm kind of on the same pathway as Cody, though. Bryce Young just have major concerns with his size. I don't know if he's going to have the durability, and if you look back in this past season, he got hit one time in a college football game and didn't get off the turf. Had to leave the game, and that's kind of like the big deal. So at 1, we end up Cody ends up going with Bryce Young here. I can't disagree, but at the same time, for us, I know Cody and I like the concerns for durability and his height. It is a factor. As much as everyone says it's not, it is.
All right, we've got Tom Leiter in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Tom? Oh, Tom is hoping and dreaming.
Get Jalen
Carter to Seattle, please. Well, we'll see how this all unravels there, Tom. And we'll see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. All right, so we got it. Number 2,
Oh, hey.
Prematurely. I don't know what's going on here.
Cody,
but at number two,
everything.
the Houston Texans are
I
picking
got you,
here.
Cody.
And the crazy thing about this number 2 pick is there are so many smoke screens, rumors.
I got it.
Everything that is out there where Houston could take an edge rusher like maybe Will Anderson or Tyree, Wilson. But also now they're like, maybe they go quarterback. We all know they need it badly, but there's this whole thing about the quarterback situation there where they might just skip it. So at number 2, I have the shock of the draft already. Jalen Carter is going to Houston.
Oh, you
Sorry,
already crushed
Tom.
Tom's dreams already,
Dreams are out
Joe.
by
Just
pick
like
2,
that.
buddy.
And there's a reason for this pick and the way it is. Will Anderson, I don't think he's elite of elite. And when you look at talent-wise, whatever, the biggest question for Jalen Carter is, can you get this guy to work? Can you get this guy in camp and with other veterans and get him to flip the switch and start working hard and everything? Because he didn't work hard at Georgia, and his conditioning is poor. So you got to get that up to speed. So if you can do those two things, you got yourself a dynamite player. And honestly, if there was no red flags, if there was no question about his conditioning, he could easily be picked number 1 overall, and I don't think Chicago trades out of it then.
I don't know if I personally see Carter going at 2, but it really wouldn't surprise me. This dude's one of the most talented guys in this entire draft. I just think maybe those red flags might just cause him to slide back like a handful of spots. Maybe Tom Seahawks have a chance. You never know with how this draft might play out, where guys are going to get overdrafted. It's going to be just amazing to see. I am ready to bring in pick 3.
All right, already. Here we go. Pick 3, and we have the Arizona Cardinals on the clock.
Yep, we have the Cardinals selecting one of my favorite guys in this draft, Mr. Will Anderson from Alabama. This guy is the only college player in literal history to win the Defensive Player of the Year 2 consecutive years. He is an extremely versatile player who can do just about everything on the defense. And I would be in utter shock to see this guy fall out of even the top 3 with his skill set. I know Joe has his question marks about him. I personally don't really have any question marks about this player.
Yeah, for Arizona, whenever you're picking this high, like my only thought is you better get yourself an elite blue chip player, a guy that you don't have any questions at all about. I know the consensus is Will Anderson is that guy, but there are a few people that have studied this dude and have a lot of questions to like where the production went in his last year of his college football career. What happened there? What's so funny?
I'm looking at Tom Leiter's bucket. He says bucket.
Yeah, he's so mad, huh?
Yeah, fuck yeah,
so mad.
He's bad.
But yeah, so I mean, like
Sorry.
Will Anderson, like I just think that he's got some things that need to work on, and for me, from what I was looking at, I just didn't see him escalate. Like that's what you're kind of hoping is for guys to traject upwards as they get closer to the draft, and I didn't see that. Not a real. He's going to be a really good player for somebody, but it just wasn't for me.
All right, we've got Brandon DeCapito's in the house. His brother's in the house. He's laughing.
Brandon?
I think the fact that
Having a good time.
Tom Leiter just got his
So Tom-
dreams crushed right
So
there.
fast?
And then Tom goes, "Can I have Miles Murphy then?" We'll see, Tom.
We shall
we'll
see, right?
Yep.
But here we go. So next up, Joe, it's your pick here at
Okay,
number
so
4 here. So
Number 4 here.
the Colts are
The
on the
Indianapolis
clock.
Colts. We all know that they are desperate for quarterback, right? And it's not even a hidden, a little hidden piece there. So this is where I don't think they never anticipated a quarterback to land here, and that's C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud going to the Colts, this is a dream. Like, if this guy was able to slide here, I don't think they would think twice about this pick, and they would hand the card in right away. Guy is like one of the most accurate quarterbacks coming out in this draft. He has the size. He has all the intangibles that you look for. So why overthink it? This has to be the pick. If this is how the draft shakes up, then absolutely.
Yeah, especially if you look at the quarterback room that they have right now, it just makes sense for him to do that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those teams where we saw a month ago, 2 months ago, they're taking a quarterback. There was no thinking of any other position because of where they are in the draft. So makes all the sense in the world, unless they shock everybody and don't go quarterback. That would be a whole other deal.
It would be
You never
shocking.
know. Weirder things happen every year. We see weird trades. We see, hey, let's just send AJ Brown out for. That's a really good rookie. He didn't do much though. He's not AJ Brown, but I don't know. I don't think the Colts are going to be doing anything like that though. I really like CJ Stroud here. It really wouldn't surprise me to see him fall to 4. That's only if nobody desperately trades up, which I don't think there's a shot that the number 3 pick is done by Arizona.
I mean, it's too much. Like, look at what the Panthers gave up to go up to 1 from 9. 8 spots, and they gave up 2 1s, 2 2s, and DJ Moore. Like, so is any team that is picking lower, like Tennessee, I don't like anybody like that that needs a quarterback, but they also have a ton of other needs. Like, are they going to really say, okay, have all our draft picks? We want the quarterback. We're going to play like shit this year. So just take all our draft picks and we're not going to plan for the future. I don't see that either. I think that's a very, very big long shot there.
Yeah, I guess it just comes down to if I guess the team's really in love with the CJ Stroud potential that you and I have talked about. Because then I could see a team maybe getting desperate enough to come up. Maybe they need a quarterback and they don't like Richardson. They don't like Levis. And they're not even that high on Hooker. And they're like, no, Stroud is our guy or bust. Like, as simple as that. So we got to go and get him right now. Oh, we got
Joe.
a couple comments flying in, too.
Your brother says they might go Richardson.
It's a possibility, right? This is
possible.
kind of the thing where like everybody's battling with Anthony Richardson. Like, how high does he go? What team really truly believes in him? And it's a big question mark because if you're projecting, you're like, yeah, this guy already has physical talent beyond belief, but man, we got to reteach how he can throw. We got to reteach the mechanics, the footwork, everything. You got to start over. And with that, if you're going to do that, which I think you have to, it's going to take time. And how much time do you need? A year, 2 years until he's ready? That's the big question mark, is how fast can he progress and get better as a thrower to kind of like alleviate those concerns. So for Richardson to go to the Colts, Steichen, I know, like, listen, he worked with Jalen Hurts. He had an offense, there, and it worked and everything. But this is different. Hurts went in the second round, mind you, and was better projected than Richardson is now. So take that for what you will.
All right, we've got the next pick here, the 5th overall pick, which Seattle is on the clock, and they've got it via trade with the Broncos, with that whole deal with the Russell Wilson.
They wouldn't even have this pick.
Yeah.
But luxury, you know what I mean? Luxury pick here. They in the trade for Russell Wilson, they have the 5th overall first-round pick. So this is something that I kind of struggled with here because Carter was gone. I kind of really wanted Carter to go to Seattle. I wanted to make that happen. But I just think the value was too great for him to slide. I also battled with this one with like some other like maybe edge rushers or something like that.
Yeah, we had a very long discussion about this.
Yeah, we did. We went back and forth.
All right, so Cody, you have the floor on this one. Who'd you end up selecting here now for the Seattle Seahawks?
All right,
for the 5th
5
overall pick.
While I don't know if it is exactly their biggest need, I went with a corner in Mr. Devin Witherspoon, arguably the most dominant corner coming out of this draft. He can lock up from day one. It's not going to be in question. I don't think this is going to be another Okuda. This guy is just going to be lights out. And to see him locking down, turning Seattle's secondary into like one of the best, arguably even, day one in the NFL, I think would be just no-brainer at this spot. if I'm looking at the value from all the other guys, I love the value of this pick.
Yeah, Devin Witherspoon should not even go this low, to be honest.
Yep.
I mean, this guy, I love Witherspoon. I think he's going to be amazing at the next level. I have him as my top 3 player because there's no red flags. There's no concerns. And he's only going to get better in the NFL with better training and what have you. So Witherspoon, it's not even close. For me, it's not close because of how physical he is as a corner with everybody else. Like Christian Gonzalez, if you're looking at coverage ability and everything, Gonzalez is right there with him, but he doesn't have that tenacity, that ferociousness that he plays with on the field, the anger. So that's where Devin is just way off the charts good. For Seattle, though, this is kind of like where me and Cody kind of differed. Witherspoon, great pick, definitely well worth it. But for this scenario, I kind of wanted to give them either like an edge rusher, like maybe Tyree Wilson. I feel like would have been like a better move for them. But we'll see, because this draft will be unpredictable, just like our mock.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, boom, 2.0. So I guess he likes the pick here.
Yeah, because it's a really good player. I mean, there's not
it
much.
Wasn't any of the 2 he mentioned, but
there's not much you can't like about sitting there at 5. You're going to get a really good player.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Joe. Pick 6 is on the clock here.
That's right.
And it is the Detroit Lions, whom they've got this pick via trade with the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions select edge Tyree Wilson. And this is a player that I am very high on, a guy that I can project to the next level. You can't teach arm length. You can't teach athletic ability that he has. For his size is tremendous. He's got good speed to go with it, and the dude is going to be an absolute mauler at the next level. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity here. Like, there's no Carter there slipping to the Lions. Not even the corner Witherspoon was there for them to take either. Yeah, all day long, Tyree Wilson is going to run away with this. I think the Lions would be very happy with having Wilson on one side and Aiden Hutchinson on the other going forward.
Yeah, while I'm not as confident in Tyree Wilson as a day one immediate dominant playmaker as Joe is, I can't ignore this dude's build, this dude's explosiveness. It's just the speed off the edge. It just worries me a little bit. And as I was watching, tape and we were really going over players, I didn't think his jump off the snap was as good as it should be. But at the Lions, with Aiden Hutchinson also on the other side, this is probably the best chance this dude will have to be a very big contributor at the next level.
And that's the thing. That's the problem with Anderson for me. He also doesn't have a burst off the snap. Wilson, at least, though, with his size and his power, is just going to take tackles and push him into the quarterback. And he's also going to be trained. He does need to learn pass rush moves, but that's easily trainable at the next level. That's all he's going to be doing. And with his bendability and his speed is going to be crazy.
That makes sense. I guess with that, I can bring us into pick number 7 with Joe's Raiders. And me and Joe didn't debate this pick as long as some of the other ones. It was pretty obvious by who slid down here.
Maybe because you were sitting next to him too. Maybe
hey, don't want to
what do I
upset Joe,
do? Yeah,
man.
he's like, is he gonna like this one?
Still,
what do I do?
It was just the easiest one of all.
Yeah,
nice. So
the way it ended up.
Pick 7, we had Mr. Christian Gonzalez going to the Raiders. Is their secondary is just, if we're being honest, very, very poor. And getting a guy what's the and bad?
The whole defense is poor.
Oh, yeah.
Besides Max Crosby and slot corner Nate Hobbs, there's nobody.
Yeah, but adding Christian Gonzalez will be a very good start in hopefully rebuilding this team once they
keep drafting defense, Raiders.
Yeah, fire GM and the coach so that they can start moving forward again.
Yes, please fire them now.
Christian Gonzalez should be a great player at the next level. I hope he is not mishandled, but at least you're not picking, I guess, a bad player at 7.
No, I mean, really good player, well worth the pick. For Gonzalez, for me, like, the only thing that I'm a little bothered by him is you don't see that frustration if he gives up a catch. You don't see any kind of, like, anger if, he screws up a play. And that kind of bothered me a little bit. Like, with Witherspoon, you see that. He's just angry all the time, he's headhunting. He's going for the football. And Gonzalez, I have no question about his coverage ability. It's not that. I just want to see more tenacity in his game to come up and deliver a blow to a running back or something like that. That's my only knock on him.
Makes sense. All right, Joe, you want to bring us into pick 8?
Pick 8. We got the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, brother. I have your pick in mind. And you might not like it. But the Atlanta Falcons select running back Bijan Robinson. And because of the way the mock draft he goes, let's go.
I think you liked it.
Because of the way the mock draft fell, like, I really wanted to pick maybe Tyree Wilson here if he slides that far. A corner if Gonzalez happens to be here, or I don't think Witherspoon would get this far, but maybe. But I wanted to do something along those lines. I wanted to go defense. I know they've been looking for defensive line for some years and it hasn't panned out. So I go Bijan Robinson here because when you think about their offense now with Arthur Smith and how creative he is with certain players in certain positions, like they signed Jonnu Smith this year. And the last time Jonnu Smith was relevant was when Arthur Smith was his offensive coordinator. So you got to like the matchup there. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, they've drafted the last couple of drafts. And now they add Bijan Robinson, who is not only considered maybe top player coming out in this draft in terms of value, in terms of how good he is. And he's also versatile because he can also play slot corner if they wanted him to. And that's the crazy part. So I got them kind of stacking this offense up a little bit more in the first round. Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I haven't seen a running back prospect like Bijan Robinson. Like, you just know this guy day one's going to be like a top 10 running back. And the only guy that came to mind was when Saquon was coming out and everyone's like, oh, this guy's going to be amazing, like surefire. Right. And Bijan's like that same kind of player. He can do everything. I don't know if he can catch as good as Saquon, but I think he can stay healthy better than Saquon can. And Falcons have got that trend going of London, Pitts, so they're just stacking on the best offensive players in the draft, and they haven't really missed yet. So I think this will just be another great addition to the offense to really give Ritter a chance to, show what he's got.
Yeah, and one other thing too for Atlanta is there's a couple other spots they could go, but some people might view them as reaches. And like when I was mentioning defense side of the ball, like Lucas Van Ness, that could be too early for some people. They could go that direction if the aforementioned players aren't there that they like. Or Nolan Smith. Because Nolan Smith is like one of these interesting prospects that you can utilize him maybe on edge, at linebacker. You can kind of use him as a chess piece a little bit until you decide where exactly you want him. But he's another guy that I kind of thought about, but I'm like, man, I don't know if he would go this high. So we'll see, man. Draft day is going to be interesting.
All right, Brandon, he tunes in. He says it has to be edge or cornerback. I don't think he does like your pick really so much. He thinks edge or corner, but
that's the problem. You're picking 8.
That, but
you're picking 8. There's no corner left that's worth being taken at 8.
The thing you look at it.
And then edge, you look at edge, and after Tyree Wilson would be a dream if he was there for Atlanta. And either like Gonzalez or someone like that at corner, but I just don't see the value there. And obviously, I know you want to address need and stuff like that, but you got to avoid reaching. That's what you got to avoid doing. You can actually come back in the second round now after you got Bijan and get another corner or edge if you want.
All right.
All right, Cody, you're up next with the 9th overall pick.
Yep, at pick 9, the Bears have done an amazing job this offseason at strengthening their offense, strengthening their defense, and still keeping a lot of their picks. It has been very cool to see, and then for them to still have a top 10 pick.
Oh, my God.
It's just pure insanity at this point. So at pick 9, we have Peter Skoronski, one of the most, I guess, like, sure linemen in this draft. In my opinion, he's either going to be a very good tackle at the next level, or he will be like an all-pro, amazing top 5 guard, because he doesn't really have the length. So bigger guys, like if I see him against like a Tyree Wilson, I'll be a little nervous, because Tyree will just get
Stiff
right
arm.
into him, and Skoronski will just kind of have the arms out, unable to reach him, like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
as he gets pushed back. But at guard, he will just bully people. This
Yeah.
dude, they can play him anywhere across the line. Their line isn't amazing, and they're all in on trying to really see Justin Fields' potential this year. And I think this guy would be an amazing addition for that.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent pick for Chicago, and it's something that we could see. We also talked about maybe giving them a tackle at this spot, but Peter Skoronski, if you're going value, like this is good value here. Like Peter Skoronski, now you got a guy who can be versatile, can go tackle guard if you need him to be. So I really like the pick. I think Chicago would like the pick, because you look at the receiving core now, and then to shore up that offensive line, to give Fields a little bit more time to throw the ball. So guy that we just talked about a little bit earlier, definitely kind of versatile player. He can play edge. He could play maybe off edge at linebacker and rush off the edge for them. To be part of that rotation would be absolutely insane. And I know Cody's not happy with this, neither would Jimmy would be, because the Eagles get another stud. And honestly, because they have this pick, it's like they don't have needs. They don't have a lot of, things that they have to address, really. So they just can pick whoever the hell they want and just keep getting better and stacking it up. So Nolan Smith is the pick.
All right. All right.
Having a little technical difficulties as we're
It
pushing
wouldn't
through
be
it.
a show without that.
That's why we have to push
There
through,
it
Cody.
goes.
That's
That's
why
what
we
we do.
ignore the technicality and just keep the show
It's
going.
going. So, all right. So we're at the number 11th pick, and the Tennessee Titans are on the clock there, Cody.
All right, so, oh gosh, at pick 11, the Titans, they are in desperate need of a QB going forward. You have Tannehill, like, for now, they don't want him much anymore. He's not playing at as high of a level, and he's getting old. And they've made it very clear last year that Malik Willis is not their guy. They could have put him in that, playoff game scenario, winning in, and they said, no, let's give the career backup the shot instead. So I don't think they like Willis at all. And I think at this pick, they will get their QB of the future in Will Levis, who can comfortably sit behind Tannehill for a year, learn behind a good veteran. He has all the raw talent, and I think just learning behind someone who's been there, done that for years now, will be very good for him. I wouldn't have liked to see him going into an immediate starting situation.
Yeah, and this is a pick that's unpredictable.
Yep.
I mean, they could go so many different directions. Yes, they need to look at quarterback, because Ryan Tannehill is done after this year. And honestly, you might see a little bit of a slip here with quarterbacks too. Like the top 2, we all know are most likely going to get picked in the top 10. And after that, you never know. These quarterbacks could keep slipping. Will Levis could slip because he drinks mayo in his coffee, and everyone's making a big deal about that. But
Horrible.
But and the guy's a gym rat, so everyone's kind of nervous, like, oh, he's bulking up too fast, so that's affecting his throwing. But anyway, Will Levis, I think, is going to be a really good prospect for somebody. And the Titans right here, they didn't have to move up, they didn't have to trade up, and they end up getting a quarterback for the future.
Very true.
Number 12. That's right, we're back to the Houston Texans. And if you remember, we took Jalen Carter with the number 2 overall pick for Houston. And now they come back with the 12th pick, and they select quarterback Anthony Richardson. This is where the 4th overall quarterback goes. And a guy, and this is one of those things where I kind of expect him to slip even farther. Honestly, like I'm not buying the whole thing about like he's going to come in the league and be able to play like Lamar right away. But Anthony Richardson comes into the Houston. He doesn't really necessarily have to start right away. He can sit for a year if they want him to. They do have Davis Mills, and I know some people kind of like scoff at that and be like, oh, well, is he really going to start this season? Well, in this scenario, he has to. He has NFL experience. He can run the offense, and he's won games for Houston too. So, but this is a spot where Houston can kind of take this luxury pick here and wait on Richardson to hopefully develop into the quarterback that they're hoping him to be.
Yeah, I think this would be an amazing pick for the Texans. This draft is such a big opportunity for them as a team to grow because they've been kind of sitting in that mediocrity level for a bit, and then right when they were just on the way out, Bill O'Brien was just like, no, we're jumping right back in that pit. And I think getting Carter, getting Richardson, and then they still have a high pick even in the second round. Like, these guys have such a big chance to make this team actually into, like, something that's not laughable anymore.
Yeah, and we've heard a couple different things with Houston now. Like, we've heard Houston possibly trying to trade the number 2 pick away. And now we're just hearing coming out is that the 12th pick is what they're trying to trade. So we'll find out on draft day what's actually going to happen in Houston. Going forward now.
All right, so with pick number 13, we have the Green Bay Packers here. And while this team, it's got a lot of work to do. They just acquired some draft capital. They're in the moving on phase. Hopefully for them, Love is the next coming of a franchise quarterback, and their streak continues, from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. I don't know if Love will quite be that, but I think they will do him a favor that they almost never did for Rodgers, and they will go and get him one of the best receivers in the draft here. And they'll go and get Jackson Smith. I always butcher the name.
Njibba.
I was going to say Nickba. I was going to be off again.
That's butchering.
Yeah, one of these days.
We're trying to avoid that.
One of these days I'll get it right. Yep. But I think this is a great pick for them there. For years they neglected the wide receiver position until it became what it is now. You have two second-year players in Dobbs and Watson who both kind of had like half a good season each. Dobbs started strong and then fell off a bit, and Watson started horrible, basically unable to catch the ball, and then turned into a touchdown machine. So adding Smith and Njibba into that, I think will actually make this receiving core pretty good and give Love a real chance to really show what he's got going forward.
Yeah, and we also kind of talked about like maybe going tight end, but tight end is too rich at 12 or 13, I should say, for that position. The other thing that's kind of crazy is it's like a big FU to Aaron Rodgers from Gutekunst with Love. Like, no, we're not getting you receivers, but guess what? We're going to get Jordan Love receivers now. We're going to help him out, not you. So,
seems Tom Leiter's right in that boat with us. Just finally pick a wide receiver just to piss Rodgers off.
That's right. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's what it is. Number 14, the New England Patriots are now going to select, and I did not want to give them a good player. I just didn't want to. But nonetheless, they take cornerback Deonte Banks from Maryland. And I just kind of think that he fits their profile in terms of corners. We know that they could use another corner. And why not take Deonte Banks with the first round? If they do take Banks in this draft, if he's there and they take him, they didn't screw the first round up. That's all I'm saying. They haven't been very good as of late in the draft. So Deonte Banks fits their profile. Very twitchy, fast, quick receiver, can do everything well. Zone, man, you name it. Physical type of corner. So with really good ball skills. That is the pick for the New England Patriots.
I think this would be a sadly very good pick for the Patriots. A lot of these drafts, they always get like their guy. They don't really care about where it's supposed to go. They don't care about value. They're like, we like this guy. He's our number one guy. We're just going to pick him. We don't really care. We're not going to even trade back.
Yeah.
And Banks, I could almost see him going a little later, but I don't hate the value at 14. It'd probably be the first time if this actually happened that I could look at a Patriots pick and be like, wow,
good
they
job.
got good value because they haven't done that in a good 5 or 6 years now.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's the thing is like, with this draft, they could surprise us yet again and take another Cole Strange out of nowhere.
you never know. It's the Patriots. You never know what they're going to do. So with that, I'll bring us right into pick number 15. We had the New York Jets, who they already got there if he stays healthy. Good tackle on the left side with Mr. Becton, but they need someone to come in and get the other side. They don't really have another tackle as of right now, and you know how they are. They like their bigger guys, they like their scarier guys, and they go with my favorite tackle in this draft, Mr. Broderick Jones. One of the best pass protectors in all of college football last season, and I don't think he's even going to miss a step coming into the next level. I almost would have wanted him to go higher, but not a lot of teams are looking for tackles that are super high up, and there's more, I guess, cool or flashy prospects in the top 14.
Right. And that's the interesting thing about this draft, about any draft, is that all these teams have different ratings on these players than any one other team. Like, they're all different. Their draft boards are so different from each other and so different from all of our so-called mock drafts. We're guessing at this, and they might have someone really high where we're like, I don't have him as a first round pick. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, we're going to probably see that. And once they fall in love with a prospect, or they believe maybe it's a scheme fit over value, that's how they get pushed up. So, I think that's another good pick. Broderick Jones, I see him as one of the best tackles coming out. And, the other thing, too, is you think about the Jets and their injuries. That's a key thing is injuries. Mekhi Becton has never been healthy all year.
Yep.
Ever since he's entered the league. Max Mitchell gets his chance first time in the league and gets injured again. You know what I mean? So it's like these tackles are not working out. Why not just throw a dart and go for another tackle? Makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yep.
Tom Later agrees with you guys out here, too. He said tackle, and they need to protect old man Rogers.
That's right. Work on it. Work on it.
I think he's predicted 2 of our picks in a row now. I didn't see when they came in, but I assume he was a little ahead of us.
Yeah.
With wide receiver and tackle.
Yeah.
And get a third one in a row is the question.
Ooh.
Number 16, the Washington Commanders now are picking, and they select safety Brian Branch. I tried to look at like different things, and something just came up like tonight that I just kind of saw. They are not exercising the 5th-year option of Chase Young.
Yep.
So at that point, because this kind of changed the mock draft, this is how it's going to like flow, right? If this happens now it changes everything tomorrow night, because now if Lucas Van Ness is here, he could kind of fill that role. He could be a pick now right here, because now they're going to need him for the future. But I got Brian Branch going right here. I think not only is it a need, but the value is there for Branch. I think some people are going to be surprised on how high Branch might go, because he's a versatile safety that can cover man-to-man if you need him to as a slot, or he can play back at safety in that, that roam role. And he's just a really, really good prospect. I have him as my number 1 safety coming out, and I think it just makes all the sense in the world for Washington to go that direction.
This is a very good pick for Washington here. As much as I don't want to see a lot of the NFC East teams, making good picks, and I genuinely don't want to see a player like Brian Branch hitting my receivers over the middle. Like, we've had too many injuries. We don't need a guy who almost looks like the next coming of like a Cam Chancellor or something back there at safety. This dude hits like a Tonka truck, and he can cover better than Cam ever could. Like, this dude is terrifying. And I genuinely hope the Commanders do not end up with him. But I also could definitely see the, Van Ness going here. He's got the flexibility and strength to even still play on the line if they want him, Young, and Sweat out there at the same time. They have tons of linemen.
Yeah,
on that team.
even Miles Murphy could be in this.
It's very true. Just a versatile lineman. All right, so that'll bring us into pick number 17. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we have them going with offensive tackle Darnell Wright. So these guys, they've made it very clear that Pickett's going to be their guy going forward. They already like the weapons around him, so I don't foresee them trying to rock the boat with that. But they want to give him more time and really allow him to really develop and get through his progressions and all that. You know, he's got his Pickens, he's got Deontay Johnson, he's got his guys, and I think even Freiermuth's still there. I don't believe he went anywhere.
No,
they developed a lot of
he's
chemistry
still under rookie
late
contract.
season. Yeah. And so this team just continuing to strengthen the offense, because as long as their defense, is healthy and TJ Watt's playing, this team will be right up there competing for probably a wild card spot, unless we see Pickett, take a step down in his second season.
I know Steeler fans really want them to draft nothing but defense in this draft, but your defense is really good already. So, but yeah, that's why we, Cody and me kind of talked back and forth, and Cody decided to go with Darnell Wright. I think this is an excellent pick, and honestly, I would not be surprised if Darnell Wright goes higher than this, because he is that talented of a tackle, and now the Steelers get themselves a true right tackle that's going to come in and be an amazing one at that for them. Number 18, I got the Detroit Lions yet again here, and the Detroit Lions are going to select not defense this time, but they're going to go tight end Dalton Kincaid from Utah. We know that they desperately need a tight end. I think at 18 this kind of makes sense. You get yourself what some view as the number one tight end coming out. The guy looks like a receiver out there at that tight end position. Great hands, great route running ability, and just smooth overall athlete. So Dalton Kincaid goes to the Lions, and hopefully this time they use tight end.
Yeah, Kincaid is arguably the most dominant receiving tight end coming out of this draft. A lot of people like Mayer, but that's because of his more versatile potential than a Kincaid, who can really take the top off of a defense and become a dominant playmaker for that team. That only adds into their weapons. They're going to be missing Jameson for 6 games, but with Kincaid getting added into the mix and him already having all that chemistry with Josh Reynolds, I don't foresee them having any problems with drafting a guy like Kincaid.
Touching back on Tom Leiter, he said that for Washington, he had Cody.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Didn't mean to pan off.
There you go. That's right. He had Washington picking Drew Sanders, outside linebacker. So that's what he thought. Maybe we'll see what happens. Again, the draft is unpredictable, so you never know. And then he says the Lions need a corner bad as Vegas does.
I disagree. If you look at their cornerback room right now, you got Emmanuel Mosley, who they just signed as a free agent from the Niners, who they definitely really like, and they're going to put him as their starter. You got to remember Cameron Sutton, the slot corner, came over in free agency as well. So they definitely addressed their secondary, and CJ Gardner-Johnson is there as well. So, yeah, I think they're pretty good. They're okay. They don't desperately need like the Raiders. Tom, if you look at the depth chart of the Raiders, they don't have anybody.
Pretty depressing.
Yeah, it is depressing.
That's why I'm not watching them.
That's right. He's a Saints fan now.
I am a Saints fan now.
There you go.
All right. Into our pick 19, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. And this is where we finally have Mr. Myles Murphy coming off the board, as we've seen him mentioned a handful of times in the comments. This is a very versatile player who could either play edge, he can play interior, and he has that college production all over. He's shown he can stop the run. He's shown he can rush. I know Joe has, his concerns, while I'm not as concerned about Myles Murphy. And I think adding him onto this already pretty stacked D-line in terms of their starters will make the Buccaneers defense actually pretty solid this year.
Yeah, I mean, Myles Murphy, very gifted athlete, a guy with his size and speed and his ability that he has. There was too many times in college where I watched him kind of just get washed out by a bigger offensive lineman. So, I mean, the only other thing about Tampa Bay, too, is the other thing is I could see them going is interior O-line at guard. Like maybe Osiris Torrance is where this might go. So that's also another possibility that Tampa Bay goes. I know they want quarterback, but it's not going to be there for them. Now, number 20, Seattle. Tom, you ready?
Tom, he's funny.
The Seattle Seahawks at number 20 are going to take, with their second first-round pick, wide receiver Zay Flowers, and teaming him up with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and learning from those two guys. That's just going to be that'll be amazing. That'll just absolutely be amazing to kind of finish your receiving core out, get yourself a guy that's going to come in, play slot for you, blazing speed, quickness, everything. There's no concerns for me about Zay Flowers at the next level. He's going to be a dynamite player and ends up with Seattle.
Yeah, I very much am a huge fan of Zay Flowers. This guy is one of the best releases in this entire draft and arguably will come in with one of the hardest to get releases at the next level even. Like, this dude is nuts. He has an insane catch radius even for someone who's 5'9". He's not afraid to go up almost like you've seen like a Tyreek Hill do for someone at that size. And what we got from Tom, our defensive line is...
A turnstile.
Yes,
Yeah.
we saw that. We saw that.
You guys have addressed it a little bit, and I don't know about you, but I'm not very confident in D. Eskridge to be your starting slot receiver. So to get another very good playmaker onto that offense, I think will really help that offense keep up its consistency and look even better going into next year, even than they looked this past season.
Yeah, if we and that's where, like, if you go back, it's a possibility to at 5, they could legitimately go D-line there, and that's where you could get your D-line there and then come back down here and maybe go a different direction. But Zay Flowers is too good to pass up right here. You have to go with that. You could go Kalijah Cansey, I guess, but I just don't know how he's going to fit into that scheme. So that's why went with Zay Flowers here.
All right.
All right, at pick 21, we have the LA Chargers coming up.
Hate those guys.
And this is another one of those teams that's very good kind of everywhere, but what they really need is another good tackle to really protect. Oh gosh, mock draft on
Keep
its way. I
talking,
lost
Cody.
my
Don't
power.
get distracted.
I like seeing the comments.
Hey, he's gonna list it all in the comments. It's gonna take
Yeah,
up
I'll
the
just
whole
kind of
box.
read it as I go.
Oh, it's good.
All right, so yeah, pick 21. They go with one of the better tackles, I guess, in terms of value in this draft, with Mr. Paris Johnson, who is probably the best run blocker in this entire class, who will need to work on his pass blocking a bit, but he has all the tools to become a great player at the next level. And I don't doubt on a team like the Chargers, despite, how many times he'll be involved in blown leads, that he will develop into a very good player for them.
Yeah.
Before Joe gets into it, I just gotta give a shout out, Mike Hackett. I know he's out there in the comments, but we gotta
What's going
recognize
on, Mike?
him every single
Might
time.
as well give one for Tom too.
I did already.
Yeah, give one to Tom
I
earlier.
did. I'll do another one just for that, and then all the knows. How about that, man?
Just keep
All right.
About time.
Let everybody know I'm here still. Go ahead.
All right.
Paris Johnson. No, you
No?
You have
Paris
you
no
don't want to
Johnson?
talk about Paris Johnson?
He's all right.
All right.
He's an okay player for an okay team.
All right. Well, there you go then.
Makes sense?
All right, next.
Actually,
up, Joe's got
the
number
funny thing
22.
about that pick is
Oh, you do want to
we
see.
have him sliding. Like, this is like where Paris Johnson slides, and everyone's going to be surprised about it. It could happen. And then you see other tackles being pushed up, and they get drafted instead. But Chargers, they ended up getting Paris Johnson. Don't worry, Max Crosby will help you with your pass rush moves.
Ugh. All right. pick
Number 22, we have the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens, I have them selecting a corner by the name of Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. Emmanuel Forbes, the only question that he has is not his coverage ability. It's not his ability to play. He throws his body around. But, man, is he a light corner. He's 166, extremely light going into the NFL. Definitely going to have to hit some weight gainer and gain some weight really quickly, as quick as possible. But that's the only knock on him, honestly. Like, it's just he's light. So Baltimore Ravens, team don't have a lot of needs. They can kind of take a pick like this and get a really good player and just work with them and develop him over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Forbes here. We all know when we talked about our prospects, I was very high on Forbes. I love his ball skills. I love his physicality when without, like the Joey Porter backfires of pass interferences. I mean, yeah, you can knock the size, but there are, we're seeing a lot of smaller corners come into the league. People were knocking Sauce for how skinny he was coming in, and, Sauce locked it up. And I think Forbes is going to be one of those guys that he's still going to lock it up. He'll gain a little bit of weight, but I think Forbes is going to be locked down at the next level.
Yeah, the problem with Forbes is he's extremely light. It's
Yeah,
not
he
even
makes-
like
he's
Sauce
even
Gardner.
smaller than Gardner
It's not
was.
like Sauce Gardner light. This is like 30. He needs 30 pounds put on this dude to get him up to par. I worry about him getting kind of like, how like receivers when they kind of do that little nudge move,
Yeah.
where they go to break and they give him a little nudge on the hip. He might just fly into the stands. That's what I'm
Feather
worried
in the
about.
wind.
Yeah. Whee!
All right.
All right.
So next at our pick 23, we have the Minnesota Vikings addressing their pretty big needs on their defensive line with D tackle Kalijah Cansey, who can also bounce to the edge when needed. This is a team where their D-line needs a lot of work. They don't have much in terms of edge rushers. They don't have much in terms of interior linemen. And I think with Kalijah Cansey's ability to be versatile, that this will just be a very good pick for them here. And I think it'll be a guy who can come in and make a huge difference for them day one.
Tom Leiter just dropped in the comment, and he had something to say about Emmanuel Forbes, and said that DK Metcalf is gonna, break him if they ever meet up. So, Emmanuel, hit the gym, buddy. You're gonna need it.
Gotta get ready.
All right. Now we have at number
Next, where are we at?
24, rolling right through. Jacksonville Jaguars are now on the clock. As much as I wanted Brian Branch to be here for the Jags, it would have been such a perfect pick. But not there. So got to go a different direction. So I've been hearing a lot about this player kind of rising up boards as we get closer to the draft. And they do need, this is a need, and value would be here at 24. D tackle Mozzie Smith from Michigan. Guys kind of been soaring up the boards as of late, and because there's a lack of D tackles at a high end, in terms of value. So I feel like he's another one of these guys that are just being subjected to being pushed up the board, going to be what was seen as a second round pick all along, and now all of a sudden maybe he could be in the bottom tier of the first round. So this is a pick that makes sense for the Jaguars. They need it. Fills a big void there for the Jags.
Yeah, I think this is just a very good value pick, because once you start getting into, it's like 20 and back, you have to start being like, all right, our next pick isn't going to be for a little bit. We got to get our guy that's in that like late first, early second that we really like. And I think Mozzie Smith has a chance to be a very good player at the next level. He's shown the ability to pass rush, and he's shown the ability to help against the run. And I think that versatility will really help him, be a very contributing player at the next level. And at pick 25, we have what would be kind of like a dream scenario, in my opinion, for the New York Giants here at guard, Mr. Osiris Torrance. And the Giants, we all know years ago, they missed hardcore on a prospect like Zach Martin. And I'm like, I really hope we don't do that again, because Osiris Torrance, I'm still not over the giving up 0 sacks in his entire collegiate career. As bonkers, this dude's huge, and he's just going to be a huge upgrade for us. I'm not sold on a lot of our interior at all. I think it's a little high for us to go with the John Michael Schmitz. Maybe we can still get a center later on in the draft. But Torrance here, lights out. You will see me like raising a drink and partying in some video if that's who we draft.
That's a huge bitch.
And that's the thing too, is like, it makes all the sense in the world. This is like one of the drafts where they're picking at 25. Interior offensive line is such a huge need. If Osiris Torrance is there, it's like a no-brainer. Or even, like you mentioned, John Michael Schmitz is not even he's a no-brainer too.
Yep.
Because he's versatile as well. Like he could play center or guard. So whatever way they go, Cody and Jimmy, let's hope that they do the right thing.
Yep. Don't make us sad.
We're always hoping they do the right thing. Yeah, or else you're going to see another reaction like we have in our opener.
Yep.
That's right, in
Hands
our
on
intro.
the head in shock.
And now the dreaded Cowboys are up at 26.
By the way, we're going to be at Hooters watching that and chilling out. What are you guys doing for the draft? Are you guys going to be having a party, or are you going somewhere? Tom, let us know in the comments. Mike. Shout outs.
Tom, I hear flights are cheap right now.
Yeah.
Come join us.
Get here by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Cowboys picking at 26. Hate this team. But let's see here. What can we do for them?
Oh no! We suck again.
The Cowboys. Here's the interesting thing. We keep hearing like a lot of like mumbo jumbo about running back. They're gonna go running back if Bijan Robinson slips to 26. They're gonna take him. Not faulting them for the value. That would be amazing value, but it's not something that they need to make their team better. You got to get something in the first round that's going to be a lock, really good player that's going to make your team better overall. So I've also heard a lot about maybe looking at interior D-line, but also tight end. And that's kind of where I went with this pick here. So at 26, I have the Cowboys taking tight end Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. A lot of people think that Michael Mayer is the number one tight end, and for different opinions. Michael Mayer is a very solid prospect, going to be good, but in the end, we'll see where his career ends up. But right here, it is in Dallas, and unfortunately, has to wear that star on him.
Tom is going to go to the casino. He said several ex and present Seahawks players will be there. That's awesome. That's
nice.
Awesome. Yo, yeah.
That's
send
cool.
us some pics and stuff, man.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Have some fun
Send
with that.
pics. We're going to put it in our
That
show.
sounds like a good place, man.
Like, this is Tom drinking a beer. This is his second beer. His third beer.
I wish he
Fourth
invited
beer.
us already. We could have got flights. You said
We could've
flights
got
are
flights
cheap.
over
We could've
there.
got flights over there, man.
No invitation, Tom.
Yeah,
That
we
was
would.
all party.
It's what, a 3-hour difference? We would have lost a couple hours. It
We
would
would
have
have been messed up.
right? All right.
What time
right.
is this?
So, on to our next pick. We have pick 27, the Buffalo Bills. One of those teams that's right now just trying to find a way to get over the hump. They keep getting back to around the same spot. They're so close to the Super Bowl, they can taste it, but they just can't get there. They keep losing right at the finish line. And I think one of their big issues is this team has been just too reliant on Josh Allen to be everything. He has to be the dominant quarterback. He has to borderline be the dominant running back because they just haven't had anybody. So I think they're finally going to address that need with Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs, who almost gives me vibes kind of like a Alvin Kamara type back, he can come out of the backfield and catch. He's a very hard runner despite being a little smaller, and he's got the speed. Take the top right off the defense, no problem.
Yeah, and for those that are listening on podcast, that's Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. Running back, great running back, by the way. And here's the thing. This could be the first time in a very, very long time that we see two running backs go in the first round, which would be amazing. You can also follow us, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcast. Drop a follow there, guys. Be much appreciated.
Hashtag know-it-alls.
You know it, baby.
There, I think Tom corrected us and said he will be drinking bourbon.
All right. He's going to be drinking bourbon. I like it.
He's going to get
Also
lit.
said that Gibbs can't pass block.
Who cares? He can run.
It's not the whole game, yeah.
You got a dynamic player like that, you're going to find ways to get him on the field. And what is he really good at? He's really good. He's almost like an Alvin Kamara. He can get out in the flats. You throw the ball to him in open space. Good luck tackling him. So, I mean, whatever.
We shall
Whatever,
see.
dude.
Yeah, it
Whatever.
could be completely different. So,
Yep.
we'll see. All right. Next
Number
up for
28.
pick- Yeah, 28 here.
Cincinnati Bengals are now on the clock. And I kind of struggled with this pick, I'm not going to lie. I had no idea what direction they might go or will go, just like a lot of these other teams. But I was like, you know what? They haven't had a real good tight end, in a while for Joe Burrow to kind of rely on.
Yep.
And there's a tight end right now that's kind of surging up draft boards, and a guy that I'm not high on, but hey, give what the people want, right? So here goes the Bengals with tight end Sam Laporta from Iowa, going to them at 28. A guy that's very versatile, a guy that does everything really well, and sometimes is forgotten about on the football field. So Sam Laporta is the man.
Well, it's funny, too, because when we were talking about needs and things like that, tight end did pop up because we had talked about, not really having somebody there at that spot since, the last couple that they have through there. So fitting in nicely if the draft lays out the way you guys have planned it. That'd be nice for them.
It's not. We're gonna get all our.
I know.
Except
Most
for
of these are going to be wrong.
except for maybe the
That's
first
probably-
pick.
The best bet, prop bets are probably, what's the prop bet on what round?
I'm a little frozen, but
That's right.
I have a little bit to say about Laporta. So I think this will be a pretty good pick for them, just getting another receiving threat. And we even saw how much Burrow liked when they had like a CJ Uzama there, who wasn't really known for being a dominant pass catcher in the past. And Laporta, that's going to be his specialty. And this guy has shown also that he can run block. His only knock is that he's short. He's a
little guy.
He's 6'3", and for the tight end position, that's very small, but it will still be a mismatch for linebackers.
And baby arms.
And
He has baby arms.
he does kind of have baby arms. But I still think this is a pretty solid pick for them. But we will move on to pick 29, where this man's kind of slide ends. We have Mr. Lucas Van Ness going to the Saints. This is a team that's kind of gearing up for
Jesus.
a playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl push if the cards fall together correctly. And Lucas Van Ness would be an excellent addition for this team. He has all the abilities to get there, and under an NFL coaching staff, he could probably turn into an elite player. And at 29, getting a player that could turn into an all-star immediately
Is unheard of.
is huge. That's amazing value, and that's all over this draft.
Yeah, we got Brandon D'Angelo's in the house with us tonight.
Oh, hey.
And
going
then Tom Leiter says Miami picks a big old tamper. I like it. And Mike Tackett says, just completed my mock. We'll share once you guys are done. Ooh, there we go. Awesome.
Ooh, stay tuned,
Excited about
everyone.
that.
Stay
Excited.
tuned.
All right, Joe, Lucas Van Ness, anything to add on that?
He's my guy. That's all I gotta say. That's
I
my
love you.
guy. That's my
Now that
dog.
you're a Saints fan, I'm
That's
sure
my
you really
dog.
like it now.
That's my dog. Like Lucas Van Ness, I just think he's going to be amazing at the next level. I mean, yeah, he's got some things to work on as far as like pass rushing moves. He's not as bendy as I would like him to be, but man, the dude looks like a Greek god standing on the football field. Very impressive athlete, and I have no problem with this pick. I just think he might go higher. That's my only thing.
All right. Pick
Number
30
30.
here.
Your favorite Philadelphia Eagles. No reaction? All right, cool.
No.
I was hoping to get some kind of rise out of you guys. Philadelphia Eagles at 30. This is they get 2 first-rounders. How is this fair? A team that's on the Super Bowl pace here, and looks like they might return again. They just stack talent. This is what they're going to do. They're going to stack talent. They went with Nolan Smith with their first round pick, and now they're going to go D-tackle Brian Brzee from Clemson, a guy that has gone through a really rough past year, losing a family member and dedicating his last college football season to fighting through the emotions and what you can imagine he was going through, but also coming back from injury. This is a guy that's if he never got injured, would definitely be talked about as a top 15 pick. But because of everything that has transpired, because of he kind of slides down here, and the Eagles get yet another steal, and in preparation for Fletcher Cox, which is he's going to be done after this season. So after he moves on, Brian Brzee, just insert him and keep going.
Yeah, last season we saw the Eagles have almost an unheard of stat line of having like 4 players with over 10 sacks, and they let a couple guys go, and now they're just retool, get the guys, but get new guys in, get a couple freaks of the draft. Brian Brzee, Nolan Smith are 2 of the biggest like freak linemen in this draft, and the only reason he even falls this far is just the injury. That's it. There's no other knocks I can make on this guy. He can pass rush. He can stop the run as good as anyone on the interior. He's probably going to be a great player as long as the injury didn't take a step or it doesn't become a lingering problem going forward.
And we talk about the Eagles kind of picking like for the following year kind of thing. but don't be surprised if they don't go like maybe like if they fall in love with one of the centers, whatever, in preparation for Kelsey to move on. So that's another idea as well.
All right, we got our final pick now of the first round.
There you go, the final pick.
With our
Fuck them Chiefs.
With our Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. This team does not have a lot of weaknesses, but they did just let a tackle go, kind of opening up a weakness there. And with the value here, a guy who a lot of people had higher, who's been kind of sliding on draft boards recently, we have Mr. Anton Harrison. Someone, Joe and I are
Great pick.
Very low on. I don't think he'll be great at the next level. He has that first round value when you look at how teams are grading him. But I don't think this guy will be anything more than just a solid player at the next level at best.
I hope he's not a good player.
He just doesn't have that, it's like killer instinct I like to see in linemen. He doesn't try to bully people. He's very content with you come at me and I'm just going to try and stand in your way. I'm not going to bully you. I'm not going to throw you to the ground. He doesn't have that instinct that I see in a lot of tackles in this draft.
He's like the dancing teddy bear. He's just like a really nice person. He's just like I think he has conversations with the edge rushers a lot. Just stops them real quick and be like, hey, can I get your number?
My man.
What's going on, buddy? You want to go out to dinner? But yeah, I mean,
let's hope for your sake. Then,
Anton Harrison, I like him. He definitely has some things to work on, but I think at 31 at the end of the first round, I think this is a great value for him. I think it fills a need for the Chiefs, but also, the value is there as well. So makes all the sense in the world. And that concludes our first round. Our very first and last mock of 2023. We only do one because we only need one shot at it.
That's right. Well, we wait till the most opportune time. The same thing like when we go talk about like fantasy. When do your fantasy leagues start? You want to go right before the season starts because you don't know what's going to happen with some of the trades and stuff still going on. The whole Aaron Rodgers thing lingered right until 2 days ago. So, it's crazy, but...
Didn't we say they were going to get it done? That's all I'm saying. Everybody was panicking like, oh, my God, it's not going to happen. And sure enough, it happened. Guys got to relax.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just like Aaron Rodgers said, relax. You know what you shouldn't relax on is go to repsports.com and get yourself some Rays energy. Absolutely. We drink Rays. We love it. And you guys should love it too. Go to repsports.com, put in the promo code, raise them up right there. That's our promo code. Get yourself some Rays. It's super great.
Just so you guys know, if you do that and you order a case of Rays, even just to try out, they have sample packs and what have you, but try them out. Really, it's one of the healthier energy drinks that I found, and they're made in the USA, right out of Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
Mike
delicious.
Tackett, you should know them. Mm-hmm. They're right down there for you.
Absolutely. So there you go. That's the mock draft. Have fun tomorrow night. We are too, and we'll see you guys next time.
Get drunk.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.